Hi and welcome to the latest Ancient Egypt news from the final days of January. A 5,000-year-old inscription displaying early Egyptian dominance has been found in Sinai. The find is spectacular. An unusually old inscription dating back around 5,000 years in the southwest of the Sinai Peninsula shows in a terrifying manner how the Egyptians colonized the Sinai and subjugated the inhabitants. The scene, prominently depicted on a clearly visible rock, shows the Egyptians' dominance in the form of a large man with his arm raised and a Sinite with an arrow in his chest kneeling in front of him. Mustafa Nur el-Din from the Aswan Inspectorate at the Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities discovered the unusual inscription in Wadi Khamila. Egyptologist Professor Dr. Ludwig Morenz from the University of Bonn interpreted the scene. It announces the Egyptians' colonial claim 5,000 years ago. The southwest of the Sinai is the region in which we can find economically motivated colonization, using images and inscriptions, some of which are over 5,000 years old, says the Egyptologist. The motif that has now been discovered is one of the oldest known scenes of killing with an accompanying inscription. The fear-inducing Egyptians standing in a victor's pose in front of a kneeling injured Sinite depicts the subjugation of the local population. The inhabitants of the Sinai Peninsula at that time had no writing, no government organization, and were inferior to the Egyptians in socio-cultural terms. The Egyptians advanced into the region in search of natural resources, such as sought-after copper and the gemstone turquoise, and colonized it. Until now, Wadi Khamila has only been mentioned in research in connection with Nabatean inscriptions that are around 3,000 years younger, says Morenz. 5,000-year-old evidence of the Egyptians was previously unknown there. The dating of the rock inscriptions is a challenge for science. Iconography, style and epigraphy provide a good basis here, says the Egyptologist. It's a matter then of how the inscriptions are actually composed. There's also the cultural context. We know that the Egyptians embarked on economic expeditions in the southwest Sinai in the late 4th century. The Egyptians also left graphic depictions of colonial dominance in other dry valleys of the Sinai, Wadi Amira and Wadi Maghara. Together with the rock carving that has now been found in Wadi Khamila, this suggests that the Egyptians had a kind of colonial network, says Morenz. The prominent location in the landscape, the good visibility of the rock, its smooth surface, and its connection to traditional resting places apparently invited people to inscribe it. Historically, it's often the case that in places with clearly visible rock inscriptions, they are rewritten or even overwritten, reports Morenz. The Egyptologist also identified multiple overwritings on this rock inscription, including Arabic graffiti from more recent years and decades. In the two inscriptions from Wadi Khamila and Wadi Amira, direct reference is made to the god Min. This god was the religious authority of the Egyptian expeditions in the 4th and early 3rd century, says Morenz. The images and inscriptions are usually very short, but the religious justification of colonization played an important role. According to the findings of the Egyptologist from the University of Bonn, the inscription is likely to announce Egyptian dominance under the patronage of Min. It thus formulates a colonial claim by the Egyptians 5,000 years ago. According to the researcher, the reference specifically to the god Min characterized the early phase of Egyptian paleo-colonialism in the Sinai. Other gods, such as Sopdu, then took the place of this god later. In comparison to the Aswan region, for example, inscriptions and rock carvings in Wadi Khamila are by no means common, according to current knowledge. Morenz, who is also part of the Cluster of Excellence, Bonn Center for Dependency and Slavery Studies at the university, is thrilled that Mustafa Nur el-Din from the Aswan Inspectorate at the Egyptian Ministry discovered the unusual inscription in Wadi Khamila on his exploratory trips. For Morenz, the discovery is a new starting point. He's planning to further explore the area and search for additional graffiti from this period. However, we are first planning to hold discussions with the Egyptian Antiquities authorities to classify the new findings, says Morenz. Renowned Egyptian archaeologist Zahi Hawass has announced the release of a new book alongside a series of artistic productions inspired by his distinguished scientific and humanitarian career. Central to these announcements is the debut of a monumental operatic work centered on King Tutankhamun, a project that required 3 years of intensive research and composition. Hawass explained that the opera is the result of a creative and intellectual collaboration with an acclaimed Italian librettist and a world-renowned composer. The production seeks to blend classical art with Egypt's profound civilizational heritage, aiming to present ancient Egyptian history through a contemporary creative lens designed to resonate with a global audience. The world premiere of the opera is scheduled for February the 4th, hosted by the Italian Embassy. The event will be attended by approximately 350 prominent Egyptian figures and dignitaries. This premiere serves as a precursor to future stagings of the work at the Grand Egyptian Museum or the Giza Plateau. These efforts are part of a broader strategy to utilize the performing arts as a vehicle for promoting the Egyptian civilization and strengthening its cultural presence on the international stage. January the 31st marked the 14th anniversary of the opening of the Crocodile Museum in Komombo in Aswan, which showcases crocodile mummies and highlights their role in ancient Egyptian religious beliefs and their connection to the Nile. The Egyptian Museum in Cairo has opened a new exhibition titled Khabia, Hidden Treasures, in Hall 52 on the upper floor, bringing 15 coffins into public view for the first time as part of a refreshed presentation on ancient Egyptian burial traditions. The display follows the reconfiguration of Hall 52 after the transfer of the royal mummies and introduces a revised curatorial approach that combines visual storytelling with scientific interpretation. The exhibition focuses on how ancient Egyptians prepared for the afterlife, using coffins and funerary objects to illustrate beliefs, rituals and preservation practices linked to death and rebirth. Khabia, Hidden Treasures draws together artifacts from 3 major royal and priestly caches discovered during the 19th century. These caches were created to conceal coffins and funerary assemblages in response to widespread tomb robberies, helping protect significant elements of ancient Egyptian heritage. By presenting items from different caches within a single narrative, the exhibition explains how these protective strategies contributed to the survival of key archaeological finds now held in museum collections. Alongside the coffins, the exhibition features selected funerary objects that highlight burial arts, religious symbolism and mummification techniques. Contextual information links the objects to the circumstances of their discovery and their historical background, offering visitors a clearer understanding of both the artifacts and the periods in which they were created. And that's it for this week. This news podcast is brought to you by Ted Laux and GNT Tours. Ancient Egypt News is rated in the top 5 Egypt history podcasts according to feedspot.com. For 2026 tour dates, check out our website, gnttours.co.za. Follow us on social media and on YouTube. Thanks for listening to this episode. Please feel free to comment and share. Until next time, thanks again. Cheers. Bye-bye.